Hi, welcome to Data Engineering channel. This video is in language English, and if you want the same video in Telugu and Tamil, you can find the link in the description box of this video. Myself, Gautam, I work as a senior data engineer in a leading product-based company. In this Data Engineering 2.0 master course, we are going to discuss lots of data-related technologies and on-demand data engineering technologies. Okay, let's get into the topic.
So let's discuss about various data layers in the data engineering project. Okay, so even before that, let's first discuss about the pizza layers. So here is the pizza, right? So pizza has multiple layers generally, right? So the base and then the cheese and then the sauce and then again cheese layer, and then we do have meat, vegetables, mushrooms, and then spinach, right? So we do have these many layers. Now imagine I just go for a pizza shop and then I order for a pizza and the chef prepares all these layers by himself. Okay, now I got the pizza served. Now imagine another fine day, I go for another shop and again I order the pizza. Now here in this shop, the chef just prepares only 2 layers of this pizza. For example, he prepares the base and then he prepares the cheese, and that's it. The remaining like vegetables, meat, it's all the chores, everything has been done already by someone else and he's reusing it. Right, so that means in data engineering also we do have so many data layers that you will be using in your data engineering project. Okay, so now the data engineer will get chance of working in all the layers or at least 3 layers or 1 layer. So it's not like always data engineer should work on all data layers, but knowing all that is very important. But it's not like you have to work on all the layer. So in real time it won't be like that. Okay, so let's just discuss about all the available data layers. Okay, so this is data engineering layers. So we are going to discuss 16 layers, and you can find this in my tablenotfound.com site, and this link is there in the description box of this video. Now I'm going to teach you 16 layer, and that doesn't mean only we have 16 layers of data. We do have so many, but I just handpicked the important 16 layers. And again, so all this 16 layer data engineer will be working. If you ask me that question, no, it's not like that. Hardly 3 to 4. But knowing the 16 is important. But the end I will tell you what are all those 3 to 4 data layers that a data engineers will work. The very first layer is data source. Okay, so data source. So data source is like, let's say we have technologies like A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, let's say we have these many technologies. Because I'm not going to give you the exact technology name, so because it will confuse you, I don't want to confuse you for now. Let's pick B. Okay, there is a technology called B, and this B is nothing but a database. Just imagine it's a database. Okay, now for this database I need a data, right? So imagine I'm using Amazon e-commerce application. So this is an app and I'm just making a purchase. So my payment information, my account details, my transaction informations and the logs, everything will be get stored in the database, right? So now for the technology B, right? So the technology B, the data sources front-end application. So first of all, you have to identify what is your data source. That is very important, right? A data source can be an application, or it can be a file, or it can be a folder, or it can be another technology also. For example, A is another technology. Imagine that is again a database or some processing technology, whatever it could be. So from the A, I'm just migrating the data to B. For B, now the technology A is another source. It can be anything. So the data from which we are getting, we call them as upstream. The data which we are going to give to someone, we call it as downstream. And for that downstream, we are upstream. Okay, fine. Now, this part, this B as a technology, I told you it is a database, right? It's need not to be a database always. It can be anything. Okay, so data source is all about you use some technology X, Y, Z. Let it be a database or processing, whatever it is, but you should know what source it is, right? That's what we need to know. And the next thing is data ingestion layer. What is ingestion? So ingestion is nothing but you see this arrow mark, right? This arrow mark. So we are transferring the data from the source to destination, and that arrow mark is like the transferring part, and we call that as an ingestion layer. Now imagine there is a technology E, and I'm going to use the technology E for transferring the data from one place to another place. So now that is what ingestion. So even for this ingestions, we have some technology names. I'll tell you at the end. So ingestion is about you transfer the data from the source to destination. And then data validation layer. Now imagine that you have to validate the data. Now let's go back. So I'll just tell you one example in the data validation layer. A data validation can be done in any technology. It can be done in Python, SQL, or even in big data. We have technologies like Spark, Hadoop. You can do with anything. Okay. So now imagine I have a source and I have a destination. So from source to destination, I have to migrate the data. I have 10 rows here. After migrating it, it will be 10 rows. So you have to check whether this count is matching after migration. Now, again, in the second case, I'm transferring 10 rows, but I got only 8 rows. Now, the validation check should happen here. So this is one type of data validation check that we will be doing. It's like a data quality check. We will be calling it like that. Okay, fine. So the next layer is data storage layer. So data storage layer is nothing but like in data storage, we have two types. Okay, so data storage, we have two types. One is, you all know, it's a database, right? A database could be an RDBMS or a NoSQL database, modern database, whatever it could be. Another one is file system. What is file system? Do we really use file system in our day-to-day life? Yes, of course we use. So let me just open my file explorer, and in desktop I create a file, and that means it's just gets stored in my operating system, right? I'm not storing it in a database. I download a movie from the internet, a video from the internet, right? And that means that has been gets stored in my downloads. It's directly in my operating system and it goes to the hard disk. So every operating system, whether it could be Windows or Mac or Linux, every operating system will have a file system. And similarly, in big data also we have file system, like in Hadoop we have HDFS. In AWS we have an object store called S3. In Google Cloud we have Google Cloud Storage. See, these all like a kind of a file system. So file system also is a place where we store the data as in a raw format, a Word document, PDF, movie files, whatever it could be. So storage can be done in two places, database or a file system, right? So data storage is these two part. Okay, if you are working in these two layers, and you can call yourself, or you can add in your resume saying that I worked in data storage layer, and whatever the tech stack that you mention in your resume, you have to categorize it with these layers. It will be more attractive. And then processing layer and transformation layer, we can combine these two and we can still call it as a processing layer, but still since we are learning it, let's learn it clearly. So processing layer generally people used to call cleaning. So you do the cleaning part in the data. You just get some data from the source, and then it has lot of issues, and then you clean those data, you validate those data. So those things we will be doing it in the processing layer, right? Even this data cleaning work is very important. Even you can do with both transformation and processing can be done in same technology. For example, in big data we use Spark for both. So cleaning is very important. So for example, you have null records, you have some corrupted records, you have some delimiter issues. So you can fix all these in the cleaning layers. And whenever like there is a new issue comes, you can add a new cleaning layer to it. And then the transformation layer means where you are actually writing a code or SQL for the business logic. Imagine you work for Amazon, and there is a requirement for you. So your BSA or your solution architect or your manager is asking you to fetch the list of customer to whom we have given the offer in the last 2 weeks. So you have to write a query or a code to process it. That is a business logic that you have to run it on top of the data which has already been cleaned. Okay, so processing and transformation layer, where transformation layer is for completely for business logic, for processing layer is the code that runs for cleaning the data. But we can combine these two and we can still call it as a processing layer, and sometimes people call these two as a transformation layer also. Fine, right? So next one is orchestration layer and scheduling layer. What is orchestration and scheduler? Again, orchestration and scheduling can be combined together. Now imagine you have a job A. Okay, this is a code and we call it as a job, and you have job B. This is a code again, we call it as a job. Now B job should run only after A job. So you maintain a workflow and set a dependency, right? You'd set a dependency for B with A. Now B will not run until A get completes, right? And then I set a dependency for the C job with the B. B should get complete and then only C should start. So this is what we call it as workflow management and orchestration. What is scheduling? Now again, this A job should run on 9 a.m. B job should run by 2 p.m. and then C job should be run by night 10 p.m. So I cannot do it manually, right? I cannot set an alarm and then I cannot do it manually. I need some sort of scheduling, and we do that, and that's what we call it as a scheduling layer. And nowadays there are so many tools that is doing both orchestration and scheduling. One example I can give you now itself is Airflow. Airflow is a leading open source technology, and it has an enterprise edition too, but most of the companies still use open source Airflow itself. And this Airflow can do both, and it can even do more. So we will be covering as part of our data engineering master course series in future videos. Right. Then next, pipeline layer. So pipeline layer is like connecting all these data layers so far, and whatever I'm going to teach hereafter, right? So a project will have so many layers, and you connect all of this and you create that as a pipeline. And we can still do this in Airflow also. Okay, so data pipeline can be done, data orchestration can be done, data scheduling can be done with the Airflow itself, right? So that is another layer. And data visualization layer. So data visualization layer is you present the data with dashboards, pie chart, graph charts in an attractive way. Like for example, if you see this itself an animation, right? A HTML page I created, instead of giving you with a boring paragraph of explaining all this, I just made some kind of an animation. So you like to watch it, right? So that's a point of a thing, how I'm presenting my analysis, my data to the client, right? So you might have heard about Tableau, Power BI, Looker. So there are some tools for data visualization as well. We will be seeing some sort of tools in our upcoming videos as well. Data security and governance. People will combine these two and they will still call it as a security layer also. So data security and data governance, data engineer will never work. 95% of data engineers will never work. Even that 5% of people also who will be working in startup companies would take care of all this, right? So, but most of the times we will not work on these two layers, and we are not going to see any of these tech stacks in our upcoming videos also. Right. So admins will be taking care of it. Data security layer is where like access management, encryption, decryption, and adding all these security stuffs to our projects. Governance is all about following the policies, defining the policies and standard, right? So imagine there is a policy standard in your company, for your company. So country A and country B data cannot be processed together. There will be such policies and standards that your company will get from the government. Okay. Similarly, like in India, we have RBI, right? They handle all the financial regulations and complaints. They will ask us to follow this while transferring the money, kind of, right? So similarly, data governance is there in all the companies and all data projects. But as a software engineer or data engineer, we will never come to know about it. But we can still read the official documents of our company. But then, yeah, so there will be a people who will be watching, and they will be saying like, if there is an issue, that you should follow the standard, this cannot be done like this. And that's where this BSAs will come into picture. Next, metadata management layer. Okay, what is metadata management layer? Now imagine, just give me a second. Okay, so now imagine that the job A is completed, then I will make an entry of it. So this is one example of maintaining the metadata for our jobs. Metadata means data about data is called metadata. So now you are asking me, what is your name? I say Gautam, and then you are asking me, what is your address? And I'm just giving a data about the data, right? So like that, you maintain the information. One such thing is you maintain all the job status in a database or in a file, and you can revisit or you can use it for the debugging purpose, and you can use it for lineage. Lineage is like you backtrack, right? Lineage, you say son, father, grandfather, right? And that's what the next layer is all about, data lineage layer. So in your pipeline, you have a pipeline here, and data lineage can be done so that you can backtrack the system. So this can be easily done if you have a pipeline already. Okay, there is no specific tech stacks required for it. And data monitoring layer. So this is also something we will not work. It's again part of admin, but still, if you have the access for the respective monitoring dashboard, you can still have a look into it, like how much hard disk, RAM, resources has been used, or some nodes are dead or alive. So these informations is required, but at least one or two from your data engineering team will have the access to look into it. And finally, machine learning layer, like we are not going to do any of the work here. So machine learning layer is where they build models, they optimize models, and to do that, we have to give them the data. As a data engineer, I do all cleaning, processing, transmission, scheduling, pipeline, everything, and then I'll give them the golden data to them, and then they will feed that to their models, and so the intelligence for the models will be get increased. The model has a capacity to learn, but to learn, we have to give them the data. right? So we have to give them. So that's where this machine learning layer comes, but we will not be working there. But again, in some AI projects, data engineer also knows AI machine learning stuff, so they work together. But again, we do have so much layers in the machine learning projects as well with respect to the data and AI, but that's a different topic all of thing, right? So now let me tell you the complete tech stacks for each of these layers, right? Let me show you that. Okay. So first thing, data source. It could be MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB. Like it can be any of these IoT devices, files, folders. I told you, right? It can be another technology also, or files, folders also. MongoDB is a NoSQL database, REST APIs, Kafka. Kafka is again an ingestion layer technology. Data ingestion layer, you can see Apache Kafka is there. So we'll be anyway seeing this Apache Kafka. And then we will not cover Flume, and there is something called Apache NiFi. Sometimes people call it as Apache NiFi, AWS Kinesis. So we will be having a video on AWS Kinesis and Google PubSub anyway. So AWS Kinesis is a ingestion layer tool available in AWS, and this PubSub is in Google Cloud. Similarly, we have in Azure as well. Data validation layer. So you can write a normal Python or SQL code to do it, or even you can use Spark itself in big data to do this data validation layer. But there is a specific tech stack also. So in my experience, I use Spark itself to build data validation layer. Like we can see all that examples. That's itself as a project. And storage layer, HDFS is a file system in Hadoop, a distributed file system, Amazon S3, Google Storage, Google Cloud Storage, Azure Data Lake, HBase is a NoSQL database, MongoDB, Cassandra. So these are some NoSQL database. And I can say still MySQL, Oracle, or DBMS database. So processing layer, so Apache Spark and Flink, Hadoop MapReduce. So Hadoop MapReduce is dead, but still like Apache Spark is what we use a lot, and Dataproc. So we will be seeing Apache Spark and Dataproc both. So same Apache Spark provided in Google in the name of Dataproc, that's it. And then data transformation layer, you can still see Apache Spark is used, and DBT. I'll teach you DBT also in my upcoming videos, and Hive is also part of our course. I'll teach you. And then orchestration, as I told you, we have Apache Airflow. Even in data pipeline layer, you can see we have Apache Airflow. And scheduling layer also, you can see Apache Airflow, right? And cron jobs is a plain vanilla Linux. We can able to do cron job by default, so you can do, but preferably let's go for Apache Airflow. Yeah, I will be covering Apache Airflow also. Data visualization layer, as I told you already, Tableau, Power BI, so Looker, we do have all this. Data security layer, so anyway we are not going to cover this, but still I'll just tell you the tech stack name: Ranger, Knox, IAM. IAM is a basic service which is available in all the cloud services. Data governance layer, we have something called Atlas, AWS Glue Data Catalog. So again, we are not going to get deep into these as well, not even the basics also. And metadata management layer, you can write a normal Python code to maintain, you can build your own framework, or you can still use any of this, but I'll be teaching you how to build it our own small framework for the metadata management. So data lineage layer, so again, you can still do the same with Apache Airflow itself, or you can use these tech stacks also. And data monitoring layer, so Grafana is very famous that people will be using for monitoring the stuff. But again, if we use any of the big data tools within the cloud providers itself will provide a dashboard to look into that. And machine learning layer, so Spark also has a machine learning library. So we will be having few examples in the Spark mlib, but you can see other TensorFlow, PyTorch, and SageMaker. So we are not going to cover as part of this series, but I'll be making it in a different machine learning videos in future. But we'll be seeing some example in Spark mlib. So these are the layers that you are supposed to know for sure, and I'll tell you which all the layers that you will work for sure is data storage, data ingestion, data processing and transformation, and scheduling. So these 5 layers, but the scheduling part is kind of optional. In many companies there will be a separate Airflow team or whatever the scheduler tool team, so they will be taking care of it. You have to give them the information of the job, like how it has to be scheduled and all those stuff. So mostly transformation, processing, storage, and ingestion layer is what mainly we will be working in, but knowing a scheduling layer is actually good, right? Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. If you really like this video, please do share your learning experience in a LinkedIn as a post and tag me in that. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel. And I have shared my LinkedIn and Instagram profile link in the description box of this video where you can follow me. And I'm there to teach you data engineering in a very easy and simple way. Don't worry. Not just data engineering master course. I even have Python master course, SQL master course, and Linux master course, and many other master courses available in my YouTube channel. Please go and have a look. Once again, thanks for watching, guys.